These people are unbelievable.
I think it's been really helpful in waking up a lot of people that think, oh, it's fine if I just go along and mind my own business. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, she should have just shown ID. That's not the point. I'm not going to show.
No, they were gonna get you then.
Yeah.
I mean, they were gonna get you then.
People are surprised that that is even the law, and so a lot of people, well, you should change the law then. Well, yes, absolutely we should.
But listen. Even the ACLU covered this 3 weeks ago. I mean, people can look this up. They got the Department of Defense was commanding the police to arrest peaceful protesters, and then the Department of Defense, not even supposed to operate domestically, the military, went to the judge and said, keep these protesters protesting as low-level terrorism. It actually said low-level terrorism. The military being involved is red flags. Now saying arrest protesters, look, it's darker than most people know. And the fact that all over the country, they're arresting people for lemonade stands. I've got stacks of articles I covered before we went to this interview where people with $5 bills are being arrested. People are being detained. People that use money that's 5 or 6 years old before it became colored, they're being arrested. And the cops are saying later, it doesn't matter, it's real. You should have new money. Because you've got all these people that think they get their power from the state. And they think that it's fun to send people to jail. It's like a video game for them. Well, I've been ranting here during this. Other points you'd like to make about where this is going? What do you think of my idea to have everyone go out and exercise their First Amendment?
I think you saying that is certainly fine. I have yet to talk to a lawyer or anybody. My arraignment is tomorrow. If you'd like to call the Napa Police Department, I would certainly encourage that. I think your idea is pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody else, but we can't be afraid to speak out.
Well, I mean, obviously, that's people's own decision to go out and exercise the First Amendment. But look at the chilling effect, where we're now, oh my God, don't recommend you go out and put chalk on the street with a political message. They may get us. I would go in tomorrow to the arraignment and say, are you guys really, this is land of the free, home of the brave, where you say, oh, we have a law, and you want to charge me with a felony for this? I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm ranting.
Well, I am living in the state of complete regulation. You know, we have all the jobs are disappearing because there are way too many regulations here, and it's not a business-friendly place. And people are fleeing the state. 1 or 2% in the last 4 years have left to go to other states. So California's got a lot of problems. We're completely bankrupt, and the people here really need to wake up as to why all this is happening. They think the answer is, well, government should be doing a better job. We should have more government, more taxes, and you know, there's just a lot of people that haven't really heard that there's another way to think about things as far as actually being free. Everybody wants to say, oh, we live in a free country. You better stop it, because I'm really sick of hearing that we live in a free country when things like this happen all over the place. And just because they haven't encountered somebody it's happened to personally, they don't believe it's happening. But it is. This is just, you know, I'm able to stand up for things, and I'm not scared, but a lot of people don't try and exercise their freedoms, and so they don't realize that they don't have them.
Well, look, public commons were meant to have chalk put on them. People should check their local laws, obviously, but my thing is unconstitutional laws are meant to be broken. Again, I go back to the government saying blacks weren't human. I mean, what's next? I mean, they're going to tell us, you know, we can't go out and protest? Well, yeah, they already are. And I think people should call the police department and say, shame on you. You ought to be ashamed. Good thing you don't have children, you know, like you told that poor woman. You people ought to move to North Korea or Communist China or Russia, you know, back in the 1970s or something. The police chief is Rich Melton, a shameful person for supporting this. Your arraignment tomorrow. 707-257-9550, 707-257-9550. They'll probably call for my arrest for saying call them. You know, pretty soon our free speech will be completely illegal if we don't stand up against these people. Folks need to call the mayor and others because this is just incredibly shameful. This is happening in Napa Valley. But I'm going out and I'm chalking the sidewalk. I mean, wow, what an evil terrorist I am. And you know what? You're right. People should Google. People should YouTube Building 7. People should find out exactly what's going on. Look, I'll guarantee you they're not arresting little kids that are putting flowers out on their street. I mean, what do you say about this being your political message? You think you were targeted because of that?
Definitely. You know, no children have been arrested. A lot of commenters are saying that they want to organize to have a bunch of kids do it and see what would happen. I think it's pretty clear that it was because it was political. You know, and it's an inexpensive way to get your message out. I'm sorry, I was trying to be economical. About things. I could stand there with a sign, which is actually still technically legal in this city, but you know, a lot more people would see it if I put it in various places. So I think it's really too bad. A lot of people don't like what I was writing, but there are a lot of people that don't like what I was writing that have come to my defense because they had no idea chalking is illegal. It's crazy.
Well, again, they could pass a law tomorrow saying we have to sacrifice our firstborn. Many governments have done that. We're going to say no to that. This is a government of, for, and by the people, built on free speech, built on liberty, built on unpopular speech being protected, Amy. And we've got to come to your aid because they will take all of our rights if we don't do this.
I agree.
Well, I've been doing a lot of the ranting here. Other points you'd like to add in closing?
I guess I would encourage people to go out and just be active in any small way that you can. You don't need a big group to go do things. I like to go and hold signs by myself. That's okay. If you have a bigger group, it can be more fun, but just do something. If everybody just does something and in small ways, it's all going to start making a big difference, and educating the people around you. Live how you believe, you know? Stand up for what this country was founded on. It's founded on freedom and being respectful to each other. And it's really, really simple.
Well, I know this. Everywhere my reporters go and everywhere I go now, far worse than even the brainwashed police, and they're getting pretty darn bad, they've been federalized, globalized, all over, people come up and call the police in front of you and say you can't videotape on a street corner. And so, and I see those messages in movies and TV, so there's all these do-gooders that have been told there's all these threats, and they're like, finally, an evil citizen doing something. I get to call the cops, and the cops come. And, I mean, it's really a scary nation. We've got to let all these ninnies and people know that it's still our country, and just because they want to live in an authoritarian nightmare does not mean that that's the case. But, I mean, what a dark time that all over the country mothers are arrested for their children and fathers are playing even in their yard now. I'm talking about 10, 11-year-old children. How incredible that government is so confident in their tyranny that they're inoculating children without parental consent. I mean, this is scary.
Things are totally out of control. And my big issue is really the wars, and so a lot of people are saying, you know, 9/11 is a tough issue for a lot of Americans. They just are totally not open to hearing anything. So I was trying to not be inflammatory, but invite people to really think about things and investigate for themselves, which is the only way to wake people up, is they've got to decide to wake up. But, you know, if you put it to them, hey, 9/11 happened, regardless of what you think happened, we don't even have to argue about that. The fact is we've lost tons of civil liberties, and we're in multiple foreign wars, spending all of our hard-earned treasure, you know, making more enemies. And
well, look, they've had national polls where as much as 82%, CNN, Time Magazine poll, they had another CNN New York Times poll showing 82%, almost 83%. I've seen, you know, Scripps Hour News Service, 36% say total inside job, 50-something% say quasi-inside job. The government, when Anwar al-Awlaki was on the #3 most wanted list, he was secretly at the Pentagon, one of the top guys in Al-Qaeda. I mean, they blew up Building 7, and the secret is Building 7. That's another good thing. You know, the secret is Building 7. Google it. And we're going to go out, we're going to write all this all over the street, and nobody's going to stop us, and if they arrest us, we're going to sue them. I mean, the fact that these authoritarians think that they've dominated this country and can extinguish the fires of liberty, I got news for them. We're going to do what we want when it comes to free speech. And I individually am going to do this, and I think every week It's First Amendment week, free speech week. But let's make starting tomorrow, running through next Wednesday, First Amendment week, and we'll do another one coming up. I've got a big plan for this around Thanksgiving. And let's have everybody go out and do it, and then videotape it, and then talk to people and put it on YouTube. And let's get, because this is how revolutions against tyranny start. Velvet revolutions of ideas. Everywhere we need to say, you know, government is the problem. That's a good one to write. Infowars.com, learn the truth. Tyrants have taken over. Google Building 7, YouTube Building 7. You give us some ideas, Amy. What are some other things? Because it's not just our ideas. Everyone should go out and write a simple slogan to get people thinking and communicating that doesn't just come from on high off the teleprompter national TV written by the globalist.
Definitely. Something else that I'm really passionate with, you know, I went down to San Francisco for Audit the Fed on Saturday. I think that's you know, using their system, not that we necessarily want to do it that way, but you know, it passed in the House. Ron Paul's bill to audit the Fed passed with like over 70% of the Congress. You know, they're scared not to vote for it. It's a bipartisan bill, and
that's right.
Harry Reid won't put it to a vote. I love calling my senators and other senators and the Congress people. You know, there's only 100 senators. Call them up one day. It took me an hour and a half. Let them know you want them to co-sponsor S-202, and that's something real. You know, if they vote against it, we know that they're sellouts.
That's right, and just because they blocked it this time, 15 years ago, Ron Paul couldn't get one co-sponsor. Now it's passing the House. Zbigniew Brzezinski wrote in his book this year, and he said 3 years ago on C-SPAN at the CFR, the public's awake to the puppet masters now. We're looking past their puppets, and that's really scaring them that we're on the march, they're on the run. That's why they're, hey, baby, we're going to give you a felony charge for chalk. Well, you know what? We're going to strike back nationwide, and I want to tell people all over the world, to your authoritarian governments run by these bankers. This is a global government we're facing. You do it in your country, too. Let's stand up. If by chance you happen to see this in North Korea, I know only inter-party members have internet there. You should resist what you're doing. You should speak out. And I'll probably be arrested for speaking bad about North Korea. Our government will probably get really mad about that. But I don't like North Korea, federal government. Just because it's your dream, just because you're murdering scum that run our country, doesn't mean you're going to get to have your North Korean hellhole. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry I'm angry. We need to get angry and get motivated and get out there. What are some of the other ideas? I mean, what do you think are good slogans to even put on a message board? Or because, I mean, God forbid we chalk it, you know, now that you're an evil thought criminal about to go to the ministry of love, that's so loving. I mean, what are some good slogan ideas that you like, you know, that people should write on their palm? Or maybe they'll be arrested for that.
You know, I like anything having to do with breaking the left-right paradigm. I think that's a good one because then it shows that these people running our country aren't actually running our country. It doesn't matter who gets in, whether it's Romney or Obama. It really doesn't matter. Nothing changes, and people need to start seeing that. You know, we go from Bush to Obama, and you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. We got to wake up these, you know, Obama people that were against the wars, and that's a big reason why he was elected was because of the wars. And then he signs the Patriot Act and NDAA. He's assassinated American citizens, and nobody's talking about it.
Well said. Well, I tell you, you are certainly a bad person. I have never talked to such an evil person here on my broadcast. I want to be honest about that. Amy Larson, are there any Facebooks, Twitters, websites where people can contact such a dangerous, desperate, wicked person that would take hours out of their time to go out and write messages? I mean, I know the police will be watching this later, taking notes for the prosecution. They're going to show you. They're going to show you, you scum American. So what do you want to say to them while they're watching right now, thinking of how they can put you in jail because they're such good guys?
I mean, no, I don't use the slave Facebook. I'm not going to pay for a cell phone for a company that will sell my information to the government and let them spy on me. So I don't participate in those things. I would encourage people to not participate in any small way that you can.
Oh, even more evil. And then you went out under the sun outside and weren't watching your TV or drinking fluoride water or taking Prozac, crime, and you drew on the sidewalk. But thank God the North Korean officers were there. Just, aren't you glad they arrested you?
Not so much. I would like Officer Bond to have to listen to my story and hear about my experience, what it was like in jail.
You're not human. They love it. You're not human to them because they're not human anymore. So just look, you're not going to reach them. They love it. They don't want to sit and listen to you. Teach them with a lawsuit. Teach them about the First Amendment that our veterans supposedly fought for. Teach them if they don't like free speech, get the hell out of my country. You hear that? I want to tell them something. You don't like free speech? Then get your butt out of my country, New World Order. It's that simple. Go ahead.
I agree. You know, this is completely un-American, and they should, you know, they swear an oath to uphold the Constitution. They're not doing it, and yeah, I don't know what to do with it. I don't really have the means to sue them. You know I could sue a police officer personally. I would like to let them know, you know, I let them know that you can be sued personally. And they do want to talk about, you know, the sidewalk is you know, it's public property. I have a job. I'm a taxpayer. I thought I had the right.
You don't have the right to ride on the sidewalk. What do you think this is, America? In fact, I want to talk to him again. Listen, I know you're all about your power trip. I know you're all about the fact they told you you're God and you got to keep us in line to protect things and you're paramilitary and we're civilians. You're civilians too. You are part of a globalist occupation army. The bankers brag they've conquered America. If any of you police out there in Napa have any souls left, admit you're part of a sick cult. And go on strike until they drop the felony charges on this poor woman. I know what my final comments are here that I want you to talk about. What time is your burning at the stake tomorrow? What time will they have the tyrants-in-chief up there trying to throw you in jail?
It's set for 8:30. There are a bunch of cases at that time, so I'm not sure the precise time that they'll call my case up. It could be a few hours. Yeah, if people want to show up to support me, that would be awesome. I do have email. I'm not sure if I should give that out on here or not. I don't know what you would recommend if I would get a ton of feedback, but that's pretty much the best way to contact me.
Well, if people are in California, in that surrounding area, they should just be there and support you tomorrow. And they're going to try to give you immediately, a court-appointed attorney who will try to sell you down the river as fast as possible, most of them. But I personally, before anything happens, I would say, Your Honor, I would just like to speak for a moment on guilty, not guilty. And I'd say, you know, obviously you know about throwing yourself on the mercy of the court. Just on the off chance that you're not a total tyrant, this is what I would say, you should throw this out right now. This law, this is a national issue now. It's going to get thrown out. There's going to be litigation. I was putting political speech with chalk on the sidewalk. And you need to throw this out right now for selective enforcement on its face. You know it's your job to look at the rights of the people, the law as well as the facts. Do the right thing, Your Honor. Regardless, it's wrong to try to charge me with a felony for something that's not vandalism.
Right.
And then so that's on record. That's what I would say. Now, most of these people have that job because they're involved in all sorts of, you know, insider stuff, and they'll see you as a threat. And it won't matter. We'll get you a constitutional lawyer or whatever. But it's important to counter-strike. You don't get their attention until you're trying to take their bass boat in their house. You don't get their attention until a civil rights suit's... See, it's funny when they're taking you to jail. It's funny until the shoe's on the other foot. So it's time to strike back.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody could help me, that would be great. You know, I'm new to this. I have no criminal record of any kind.
That's why you're bad. They know that, and they hate you because of it.
Yeah, they want to...
You're the enemy.
Record.
They want to give you that because it's a new class system. They want to make you a slave because you have a record, so they're above you. See, that's why they tell you you're bad. It's about, you're bad, we're good. You know, we're the good government. You're the bad one. See, it's all this real sick gang psychology.
Yeah, and that's totally how they treated me as soon as I was brought in there, you know, just cracking jokes and laughing, and they're having a great time singing and doing their jobs and stuff, and this is really happening. I had no idea, you know, I've never been arrested before. I thought I was being arrested. I had no idea I was going to jail.
That's where you go when they arrest you.
Well, I was in the booking area for a very long time. There were several other, you know, older men, I assume were drinking publicly, is kind of what I gathered, and they left. So I don't understand why I was actually held. It was clear I wasn't violent, I wasn't resisting.
I know, but they had to go through the whole show, and sure, they can selectively enforce things. Look, if you'd have been John Corzine, lied to Congress, stole $1.6 billion, you'd have been worshipped. If you were an Army scientist giving pregnant wives of GIs pills to kill her and the child, you'd be a top general. If you were murdering and killing people for the government, you'd be God. You're an evil woman that stood up to the machine with free speech, and that's why you've got to be destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy.
I just can't believe how sick you are.
Well, thank you.
Oh, man, this is unbelievable. Well, listen, I'm sorry, go ahead.
If this could happen to me, police could arrest anybody for anything they want to, and so I just want this to be a wake-up call to Americans that if you think you're okay and you're a law-abiding citizen, I guarantee you there's some obscure law that
written by the criminals.
That you would is totally irrational and you would never even guess, and they don't even know all the laws. That's the big thing. You call down and you want to know about a specific law, they can't even answer it. So you could be next. Speak out now, or it'll happen to you eventually. Whether, it's just going to progress and get worse and worse, and I want this to be a wake-up call that things are moving towards a police state very rapidly, and we've seen things change in the last few years even.
Well, Amy, let me say this in final closing here. Things are getting bad very, very quickly, and 3 months ago we got the Army manual, which they responded to and said, yeah, it's ours, that for 2 years they've been teaching how to arrest people for their political views and put us in re-education camps. And they use the term re-education camp with its full authoritarian gravitas because they're just owning it. The system is like, yeah, we're tyrants. We bought $1.6 billion bullets. We're setting up FEMA camps. Get ready. And they're hiring all these control freaks who they've done psychological profiles on who have low IQs. That's come out in court. They only hire cops now with very low IQs. And it's very frightening. And they're like, we put you in camp now. You goodbye. And they would love it. You have to understand, we're in great danger. And so just God bless you for what you're doing. And we look forward to following your case of the thought criminal who dared chalk messages about the government blowing up a building on 9/11.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you blowing this story up nationally.
No, are you kidding? We're all in this